to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee. And today I have the distinct pleasure of being in conversation with an actress and producer originally from Birmingham, Alabama, but now residing in Atlanta, Georgia. Her credits include All Eyes on Me, Snapped, and NCIS New Orleans. Please welcome Shaquita Smith. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm glad we were able to connect and form like Voltron after that panel discussion. So,
thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be here and us get together and chop it up.
Yeah, that's what it's about at the end of the day, and it's always a sort of new approach for me of like, is this time and place? Do I hand the person the card? What do I do here? Because I'm not used to it. So again, thank you for coming on. And before we get too deep, could you share your story? I like to open it up in a way that either some people are like, I never like talking about myself, or some people are like, hell yeah, tell me everything. Give me everything.
So again, my name is Shaquita Smith. I am originally from Alabama, and I'm a Roll Tide fan. So I know a lot of people don't really like Alabama, but I am Alabama fan. Went to school at Troy State University. Had a full scholarship in theater, continually in my arts, own my own company. I mean, it's just so much of a history I can tell about myself. And by the way, I'm a twin. That's a fun fact. I'm
nice.
A twin. Yeah, twin brother. His name is Sean. And what else do you want to know?
So that's a good start. That's a good start we got there. So I read that you're a Southern belle full of life and energy. What is it about, like, I think being in Atlanta and being in the South, I think in a general sense, that inspires your art, your creative interests?
Oh, in Atlanta, the people. I love the honesty, the genuineness, the pure intent of my people, if you will.
Yes.
But there's so much creativity in Atlanta, so many heart-owned businesses, especially when it comes to the arts. I do theater as well. I come from a theater background, but it's also a great community when it comes to independence. Being able to work with other individuals that really is hungry as much as you, and so that's what I love about Atlanta. And the food. I'm just saying, the food in Atlanta. If you have not had food in Atlanta, I'm gonna need for you to come down here and get some food because they season it. Be amazing.
I've not had food in Atlanta, so I'm gonna have to take you up on that offer.
Yes.
It's wild. Like, I was there for a brief layover. I had just long enough time to get like some donuts, and I was like, this is not Atlanta food. I need real food. So as you touched on the theater background, I read that you at an early age of like maybe 13 that you were in your first stage play. Can you tell us more about this and what was that experience like?
First stage play was a play called Eleemosynary. No, not Eleemosynary. It was Arkansas Bear. And I was in sixth grade, actually. And at that time, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And, one day I passed this theater class and I turned around and I'm like, oh, I like this. I think I want to do this class. And I ran home to my grandmother and I said, hey, I want to do this play. And she said, a play? And I was like, yes, mind you, let me just be honest about this first play. It's that I only had one line. And you didn't see me. I was actually like a voiceover, but I was so excited. And I had all my family, all of my friends come out, and they were looking for me, and I was nowhere to be found. And so my grandmother was like, "Baby, we didn't see you." And so I just remember I was like, but I'm a star. And so she said, baby, you are a star. And so from there, I just continually to do different theater classes, but I was seen. After that first one, the second one, I ended up being in Eleemosynary and Ain't Misbehaving and so many, theater productions in high school, and later on was the president of the Thespian Society. So it was pretty good.
That's great. That's really cool. I think when you're on stage early, you're in a sort of environment, or at least around a production early, it's something that calls you back. Like I spoke to a theater, a person that's a theater professional. They choreo everything. They do all of those things, and she helped me remember that one of my earliest experiences, I was an MC on stage at like 5.
What?
Yeah, for like my elementary school, like I was like the masters of ceremony. I had these huge glasses on, I looked very cute. And looking at that now, that prospect was like, how would that happen? I don't see that, bro.
Right.
But it's like been embedded in me. So I think, being able to touch back on some of those like early experiences, it's like, yeah, this is a thing that was already, it was, predestined, I suppose. So
Mm.
what did you learn from some of those sort of like, and this was like a haphazard segue, but what did you learn from some of those sort of early experiences that still serve you today, whether it's in the production side of things, whether it's in the performing and acting side of things? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a good question because I get asked that all the time after I finish a show or movie. Is like, wow, your preparation is like amazing. And what I do, which has been instilled in me in the theater, is preparation. Like I prepare like it's a play to me because preparation, you have 3 months to prepare for a play. You go through the script with with the theater teacher or the coach, and you mark the pages. You understand like the objectives, you understand where you're going, and there's no room for loopholes because you know who you are. And for me, when I do a movie or a television show, I make sure I know all of my lines backwards, forward. If I don't know my lines, I'm not prepared enough.
Yeah.
At all. And so that is something that a lot of people respect me for, is the big preparation before I actually set on my first day of shooting. And that also helps me if I'm nervous. That helps me if, I just never wanted to be the person where people looking at me and saying, lie, or what is my objective? Who am I? Because the more I know who I am, the more I can play with the character when I'm on set, or I can improv, or I can go left, or whatever the case may be. So it's those moments where I'm just kind of like, okay, I could do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bringing a character to life, is making make believe kind of like real. And
yeah,
it was funny. Like I was telling you before we got started that I did this talk earlier, and I'm definitely an off the cuff sort of person.
right.
But when it's like, hey, you have a script of kind of what you're talking about, you have like a framework. And I'm looking at my own words that I wrote. And I was like, why did I write this way? Oh my gosh, this is terrible. What was I thinking?
Right,
I'm going through editing, and it's my own words, but it was maybe me in the earlier time. And it's like, no, I would probably say this different, or maybe this applies to this audience. And when I had it back and front, up and down, this is so corny, but I did the thing that Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood did. I recorded me going through my whole speech, and then I kept listening back through it. And I was like, no, I'm going to say that differently. I'm going to go back through it.
Agreed.
I'm an audio like learner. I learn through audiobooks and things of the sort. So,
right.
But it was almost like, how do I be Rob? What would Rob say here? It's like, idiot, you're Rob.
Right. Like, that's what you do.
So on the other side, I find that we talk about some of these like early lessons that, we learn and we take from them. But I think the things that we unlearn, the things that we take out, are as important as valid. So describe something that you had to unlearn to progress in your career, to move from like, working primarily within the theater to, film and into the production side of things. Tell me about some of the things you had to unlearn.
Unlearn, that's, I could tell you many. Unlearning is doubt, doubting myself, looking at the other individual that's next to me, and knowing my worth and knowing that I'm good enough. As actors, we sometimes self-doubt ourselves. Sometimes we get in our heads a lot. And so I had to unlearn to get out of my head and know that I'm worthy of all things. And it was hard, because of the fact this is a very difficult career, but it's also a rewarding career if you really love it and you know your why. And I am a big person of doing self self-love quotes, affirmations, manifestations. And it really truly helped me to be the woman that I am today. And also to, when we talk about unlearning, we're talking about also staying consistent and having discipline as well. Because if you don't have discipline, if you don't have consistency of anything, then you can never see the growth in what you're doing. And so for me, I've always had a calendar where I had like goals and dates and things that, I set in motion. And if I didn't do it, that means that I haven't progressed in the way that I want to go. And so unlearning for me is unlearning not to be unorganized, like being unorganized. I'm learning, to make sure that I'm organized. And so those are some core unlearnings that I had to learn in order for me to be where I am today.
Thank you. I like to keep sort of a progression thing too, as to, okay, what are the goals? Because, in doing this sort of talk, and, it was the last one for the year where, we get to that thing, especially as creatives and people, we get to this point where it's like, all right, New Year is coming. What am I doing for 2023? And you're really looking at this sort of calendar, looking at what these goals look like and looking at the goals from the year that we're in. And it's like, have I reached any of the things? And I think it is really crucial to have that sort of thing there. Otherwise, you realize, like, I'm just bored. That's a thing that I kind of encountered at a point, and over the last few weeks, including how we met and when we met, that was something that was outside of my normal lane. And I got a lot of juice and energy from that, being around other creatives that are not in a zone or in a scene that I'm in, but really being able to have a rich conversation with them. So I think having those sorts of goals, it's like, oh, you never know where it takes you.
I love that.
So let's talk about what was your breakout role? And if you will, could you share a memorable story from set?
I would say NCIS New Orleans, when I was Sergeant Sarah Larrabee. And memorably I was on set with Scott Bakula, who was phenomenal from Star Wars. I mean, he's everything. And I remember, like, they changed my lines last minute. And I was like, I couldn't get these lines out from like nothing. And then I saw like 1,000 extras. And now I'm in my head because I'm like, whoa, I used to be you guys. And they're looking at me like, gosh, I wish I was you right now. So all I remember was Scott Bakula came up to me and said, Sarge, you got it. You freaking got it. Let's go, Sarge. Let's go. And him saying that, I was like, yeah, let's go. And I remember going through my lines, doing my thing, and got done. And I was like, wow. And gave me a hug on set. It was like, yeah, it happens to all of us. You're going to rock and roll. And here I am. So that was very memorable. It was actually funny. I think about that moment all the time, and how Scott was very supportive of me when I got freaking shell shocked. So
let's go, Sarge. I like it.
Very interesting. So I think he even knows that still today, that like, what was she even thinking? Like, she's on shows now, but it was very memorable because it was my first one of freaking out. So yeah.
I've tried it a little bit, and I've spoken to a few actors and a few people that are in productions, and I'm like, more power to you guys. I love it. I admire the work there. It's a skill set and a patience that I don't know if I possess. I'm very much a producer in my head. I'm very much that guy.
Right. Which is not bad though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Speaking of which, I'd be remiss if we don't talk about this.
Oh Lord.
Could you tell us about Noonie Studio Productions and Wicked City? Let's talk about that a bit.
Well, Noonie Studios got transferred over to Quita Films. Quita Films is a production company that I launched a year and a half ago, where I've created a couple of Christmas movies, A Christmas Wish, that's on BET, and then I also just in pre-production for my action thriller, Alabama Girl, as well, where we're, doing pre-production, writing, putting everything together. which is good. I love Queer Femmes. It's just me creating stories that I don't see us normally do.
Yeah.
And it's very new, but it's also well rewarding because I have some amazing people that supports me and, continually to us climb the ladder. Because in my mind, I would love to be another version of Issa Rae. So, but in a space of like Indiana Jones and different spaces like that, which I love, right? And so that's how Queer Femme got birthed.
Nice.
Wicked City. Yes, Wicked City. It's supernatural drama. First Black show with Black witches, and super humble, super excited. Megamind Production, they produced it along with Kevin Key out of Birmingham, Alabama, directed by Dale Lewis, and the show is just a phenomenal show. Like, it's so great. You have betrayal, you have lies, you have scandal, you have witches, you have spells. I mean, everything you could think of, this show has it. And it's beautiful because you have these young Black girls that is in love, like they love each other.
Yeah.
I always say that it's the Black version of Charm in my mind, because it's just about that. It's not about some crazy stuff. None of that caliber. Is really genuinely about a group of women that love each other and they're going to fight for each other no matter what. And I truly appreciate that. The show airs December 1st. You got Vanessa Bell Calloway, who is iconic.
Yes.
Like, I can't even imagine not being, around her, soaking up her energy and, her skill set. She was beautiful to work with. Then you have, Columbus Short. You have, Taylor Polidor, who was on Snowfall. Chanel Mack, which was on The How Do They Fall. And then you have Chantal Maurice, who's now on Them, and she was on P-Valley. And so you have all of these group of women that are just phenomenal, and they really put their heart and soul in this show, and I'm just so grateful to be among these amazing dope women. Yeah,
that sounds amazing. Looking forward to it. December 1st and December 1st
on All Black. Do not miss it.
I know I'm going to be watching. I mean, I have more and more attention around like witches, and you mentioned a lot of things there that got my attention, so I like it.
And my character is a little interesting, if I could say so myself. My character, I play Jordan, who just really loves magic. She doesn't care about anything. She does. She cares about, her coven, which is the witches, but most importantly, she just want to feel accepted. Yeah. And I think a lot of people will, gravitate towards her, and her just really wanting to believe in herself and cultivate and knowing that. So
that's great. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So we met, at the Baltimore Next Media Web Fest, and I observed this sort of like family environment. You guys work together. You're in the same circle. Everyone knows everyone, which was a pleasure to kind of work with in the capacity that I was in. How important is it? How important are relationships in your industry, and how are they kind of built? Like, how do you build sort of trust and creative chemistry with the cast and the crew?
If you're on a production, like
from a production side and from on both sides of it.
Well, I'm only good as the person that I trust, and that has great skill set. And when it comes to production, I'll start with production. I always find the person that's bigger and better than me in that skill. And why is because I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? Whatever production, genre production that I do, I make sure that person is equipped and have more knowledge than I do, because at the end of the day, I have a vision, but they can set that vision in motion. Like a prime example, I have a director, a really good friend of mine, Dale Lewis, who is phenomenal in that space. He's a great director. I don't even want to be in that space of being a director, but he has an eye, he has a vision, and I can say, okay, this is what I want. He takes what I want and put it together and make it so beautiful, handmade, and that's me trusting him and knowing that he's going to give me 100% as well as I'm going to give him 100%. Yeah. And trust comes from knowing that. Trust comes from seeing someone's work. Trust comes from seeing the diligence that they put in. Like how bad do they want it as much as you want it? And if you know that, then there's nothing that you can, focus on. And also knowing that that person has no ill will towards you and you have no ill will towards them. And that's what it's, that's what it's all about. I've been fortunate enough to be around some amazing people in my life, women and men who, that mentor me, that, want to see me succeed as well as I want to see them succeed in this, in this industry. And so I just bond with those particular people. And, if someone else come along, it's like, I got to vet you. I got to make sure that you're good. But other than that, God has blessed me with some amazing people, and I can't say too much about that, with relationships with, cast members or other actors or actresses, I have some really good, associates and friends that's in that world. I love like-minded actors and actresses, but I respect everybody's work. I know one actor that's one I could think of, Chantal Maurice, who's on Wicked City with me. Before I even know that she was on the set, like I was super fond of her work.
Yeah.
And I love everything that she does. She's like, a beast. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, look, girl, I can't wait for you to get your Oscar. Because I soak up, much work and, crafts from other individuals as well. Only because of the fact it's like there shouldn't be no competition. There shouldn't be no hate. We're all getting to the same space, but there's so much work to go around, especially for us. Yeah. So, I live in a space where I give love to everybody, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, what are we here for? I'm going to get where I'm going to go regardless. Right. You're going to get where you're going regardless. So everybody's path is completely different. So why do I need to step on your path and dim your life? I don't need to at all.
I love that. I love that mindset. I love that energy, because we have that thing, especially with people that look like you and I, where it's, oh, well, you can be the only person that's doing that. And it's like, don't create static, for no reason. It's just like, I'm doing this, where I'm at. It's like, oh, well, it's you versus this person. You guys are the two podcasters. I was like, one, not correct. There are other ones. And two, we're two different people. We have different lived experiences. We have different things that factor into how we go about questions. And I'm the only one that's going to get Shaquita Smith on the podcast. So, I mean, that's just what that is. So I got a few more real questions for you, and then I gotta hit you with those rapid fire questions as well.
Okay.
I usually ask people about sources of uncommon. If you got common, great. If you have uncommon, even better. But certain sources of inspiration, I'm a big audiobook guy. I get a lot of questions from their observations and things. And even from these interviews, I get inspired while I'm doing the interview. So I'm like, I got two notepads open. One, thinking of new questions, two, updating other ones. So what are some of your sources of inspiration in your work?
I look at people that that inspire me, other actors, they, move their life or work in their life. Case in point, I love Jamie Foxx. I love his work ethic. I love how he epitomizes his work. I also love my other good friend, Omar Dorsey, who was on Queen Sugar, who, that is also a mentor towards me, that gives me great advice that will allow me to be myself. It allowed me to navigate this world, this industry. I think sometimes we don't know how to navigate sometimes, or we look at other individuals and be like, okay, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be this stuck up actor. I just want to be myself, the Southern Belle, but also really focus on what's the true purpose. Yeah. My other inspiration is I have this book called Acting Through a Spiritual Perspective.
Sure.
And understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. Anytime that I act, I give glory to, the Most High, and that's where my performance lies. Giving Him the praise, and so it's me, my inspiration is understanding my, I don't even know what it is, understanding my purpose,
Sure.
I'm always writing down my purpose. I'm always understanding like why I'm doing what I'm doing on an everyday, scenario. Me doing that continually to keep me focused and know where my end lies. But like I said, and then, oh my God, Angelina Jolie is like my baby. Like, I just look at people that really study the arts
Yeah.
and really be in tune with what they're doing, because I want to be the epitome of that.
Thank you. That's great. That's great. So here's the last real one for you. So I realize because you got it. You answered the other one, so that's great. Is there something, if you could, go back in time and to speak to a younger version of yourself, what would you tell your younger version of yourself?
My younger version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I could go back to my younger version, I would tell her to relax. I
Like,
think,
chill out, girl.
yeah. She was so just all over the place, like worried. My little self was just so worried and so like hyper. Like, I think if I knew what I knew now, I would have just been more like relaxed, and more knowing, having more faith, right, within myself, and understanding that, everything, will, will be all right in a sense. And I think a lot of times I was like that, like how you were saying, like, I wasn't really trusting, myself a lot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't focused on, truly my passion, like I wasn't really aligned with my purpose. And so if I was with her right now, I'd be like, girl, chill out. You getting there.
Yeah.
What you need to focus on is your craft right now. Just only be ready. When the time comes, you just be ready. So that's what I do.
That's great. And I think that's one for a lot of listeners, all types of creatives, that they can really just ease off the gas a little bit. It'll be fine. You'll get the things that you want. Just work on your craft. You'll get them.
Absolutely.
All right. So now all the goodwill that I've established in these very insightful and deep questions about your work, and thank you for indulging me. So now it's time to dive into a few of these rapid fire questions. They're all over the place, just so you know, but they're fun. They're fun questions. They're fun questions.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite snack?
My favorite snack is chocolate almonds.
That's a good choice. What color are you usually wearing? I remember you in this very powerful red suit. Shout out to you. What color are you always wearing?
You know what? It is red. I love red. It's very powerful.
You're not wrong.
Powerful color. Red lip. Red.
I just always am wearing gray, and I like burgundy. And people ask me, "You from Alabama?" It's like, no, I'm from Baltimore. And it's like, you're wearing Tide colors. So it's like, look.
Right.
It's just a bunch of deltas. It's fine. What is in your opinion, what is the most powerful word in the English language? Like, what is a word that just evokes power for you?
That's a powerful word.
Yeah.
Powerful. That's a good one. I would say God. That's a powerful word.
That's a fair answer. Let's do it.
Faith.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So here's the last two I got for you.
Got it.
What has gotten you further, street smarts or book smarts? That it's only been one person that's answered book smarts, and I was like, all right, because I was like, let's be real, people.
Street smart.
And here's the last one. What is your current phone background?
Phone background?
Like, what is your lock screen? Like, what is that whole thing?
What's my phone? It is actually, what is this? A picture of me.
Mine's is also a picture of me. So that says a lot about what we're doing here.
Right. I love myself.
It's just me with glamour shots. It's like, oh, wow, I look so chocolatey in this picture. This is great.
Wow, that's so funny.
So that's kind of the end of my series of questions here, and thank you for indulging me and being a part of this podcast. And I want to invite and encourage you to plug away here in this sort of shameless plug moment here. Tell people where they can check you out on social media, website, and all the details of what you got coming up. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on there, Shaquita_official. Also, I have a website where you can look at all of my amazing things and pictures, ShaquitaSmith.com. You can also check me out on Twitter. I'm also active on Twitter, which is real_Shaquita, real Shaquita. And Facebook, I have a Facebook page, which is Shaquita Smith, which is amazing. So I love to hear from you guys. Please ping me, and I'll ping back. I will.
You do. So there you have it, folks. Again, December 1st for Wicked City. And and I'm Rob Lee for Shaquita Smith, saying that there's art, film, TV, just people doing great things in and around your neck of the woods. You just got to look for them.